So we welcome our good friends from the Concord Food Co-op. Greg, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it was. That is the topic of today's discussion: stress, anxiety, and depression. So perfect kickoff, I think, right now with COVID and individuals' financial situations and the election. I think the election is causing a great degree of anxiety and stress. And
yeah.
I don't know if that's after the election. I think half the population is still going to have a great degree
have some kind of anxiety, stress, or depression.
Yeah.
And it's going to be that way until things find a way to calm themselves down. But we as individuals, we can find ways to deal with stress and anxiety and depression. Joining us here, because we always have a couple of guests from the Concord Food Co-op. In studio, it's Carrie James, co-founder of our local CBD store, Clearly Balanced Days.
Hello.
I love the balanced days. I mean, I think that's the perfect B word.
It says it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Because it's the perfect B word. And also joining us on the line, Maria Noel Groves. She's with Wintergreen Botanicals in Allenstown. She sees clients, she teaches classes, and is the author of the book Body into Balance, an herbal guide to self-care. All right. Maria, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here because, again, there are ways we can deal with stress and anxiety that don't necessarily, that help you to avoid, say, self-medication.
I suppose you could say that herbs can be self-medication, but I think the kind of herbs that Carrie and I will be talking about are herbs that are more holistic and healthier and safer than, say, drinking alcohol.
Absolutely. And deciding
kind of
that's the way I'm going to go with this. I'm just going to drink all the time, and that'll make me feel better. And what you want is something that really makes you feel better, because the reality of drinking too much alcohol is you wake up the next morning and I don't think you're feeling any better.
No, yeah. Drinking is definitely not the best route to long-term mood.
I know.
Mood.
However, with everybody stuck at home, you know that one of their few stops along the way is going to be the liquor store. So we want to kind of put out different ways for you to sort of deal with any issues that you're having, or even be preventative, Maria.
Oh, certainly, yeah. And I would say so much can be done with just a cup of tea, and it almost doesn't even matter. There have been studies that have shown that just holding a warm cup of something and brewing a nice cup of something, that in itself is relaxing, but then you can there's so many really wonderful herbs that you can brew in your teacup, like holy basil or lemon balm or passion flower, or, just a wide variety. But those are some of my favorites. Chamomile is another classic that have calming effects. And some of them, like holy basil and lemon balm, still actually improve your focus and can uplift your mood at the same time as calming you down, which is really nice.
Wow. And you know that you've met tea people sometime in your life that say, no, really, the tea relaxes me. And you're like, yeah, right. Okay, whatever. But the reality is it does.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There's just nothing better. And you can use herbs in tinctures, or you can use them in capsules. There are other ways, but there's just something about the ritual of tea that is so self-nourishing and relaxing and calming and uplifting, and just basically telling yourself that you're making time for your self-care, and that in itself is really beneficial.
That's a great point. That is a great point, because it does take a little to put a cup of tea together.
No, not much at all. It's one of the least expensive ways of working with herbs.
Yes, but what I'm saying is when you're making it, it does take a little bit of a process, and it's taking time out for yourself. It is not stopping by quickly and making sure I grab a cup of coffee and then getting on to the next thing of the day. You're stopping.
Yes, but can you put anything in your morning cup of coffee, or that doesn't really change the flavor drastically? I'm not a tea drinker. I don't know if that's more females drink tea than males, but it seems that way. But is there something you can put in your morning cup of coffee that doesn't change the flavor?
Well, I do know lots of guys who make and love tea, so I don't think it's gender specific, but you could use herbs. There are some companies now, I don't know if the co-op has any of them, but there are some that are using reishi mushroom in tea, in coffee blends, and it tastes decent alongside coffee. It's a little bit bitter and a little bit earthy, so the flavors go really well. Okay. And some of them are used as coffee substitutes. So, that is an option, and reishi mushroom does also have some mood-enhancing, calming, stress-supportive effects as well as benefiting your immune system. So there are a few things out there, but probably if you're really just a coffee drinker, I would go and take herbs in the form of a pill or a tincture instead.
Wow. Okay. Right. Along with your coffee.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And just to have it and say good morning.
What it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can, holding a warm cup of coffee is its own ritual. It's maybe not a relaxing one, but it is an energizing ritual.
Mm-hmm. And CBD, Carrie, absolutely holistic.
Oh, yeah, very. I mean, you're talking about a plant that grows in the earth and actually enriches the soil it's in. And, so you're really talking about something that is symbiotic with us and the ground it grows in. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that CBD does is it helps to keep the balance of serotonin and dopamine where it should be in your brain, because it's helping that endocannabinoid system do its job.
Nice.
And the endocannabinoid system, which you guys know I always love to talk about.
That's okay. Well, it's in there. It's part of us.
That system controls those chemicals, and those are the happy chemicals in our brain. Serotonin and dopamine are, when those get low, that's when, a lot of depression and anxiety can happen. Mm-hmm. And so CBD actually eats an enzyme that takes that out. So it actually, the way it works in our brains is fascinating. Mm-hmm. And it really just helps support us in such a balanced way. That's where that word comes in for us.
Which again is perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
And Carrie, any time that you're on, I think you have to make the distinction with CBD versus THC.
Yeah, so they're both cannabinoids from the cannabis plant. Our products and most CBD products come from the hemp plant, which is just designated as hemp rather than cannabis because it has less than 0.3% THC. THC is the cannabinoid that actually gives you that high effect. So for products like mine, we actually take any of that residual THC out, and then CBD interacts differently with the body. So it's really helping to bring that balance. So THC has its thing that it does really well.
Right.
But
CBD, that's not what we're talking about here.
Exactly.
Right, with CBD.
So CBD is really just helping that endocannabinoid system to do its own job, which is to maintain our homeostasis, to maintain our balance. And it really does that in a powerful way with our brain chemistry.
Right. And what it's doing is it's helping something that the body already does.
Exactly. It's just helping the body. Like the magic's not so much in the CBD. The magic is in us, and it's just supporting that system to work and do its job.
Right. And what are the forms of CBD? How do people use CBD?
Well, especially when you're talking about anxiety or depression, something like a tincture would be a great way to do that. So you would take it internally. So a tincture is what is usually referred to as CBD oil.
Okay.
So that would be drops you put under your tongue. You hold it there for about a minute. It's taken sublingually. That's what that refers to.
Okay.
And when you
it gets into your system faster going under your tongue. Right.
It absorbs into those membranes under the tongue and then goes right to work, which is good. And what it's doing is it works systemically. So whatever your body is out of whack with, it helps the body to bring itself back to balance.
Wow.
So it really just goes to wherever it's needed, which, that's the beauty of it. It's very intuitive, which I'm sure Maria can attest to. A lot of plants do that where they, when you take them, they work with the body to get the body to do what the body's supposed to be doing.
Which Maria it makes the benefits of different herbs different for different people.
Mm.
Yes, definitely. But, as Carrie's saying, a lot of herbs really do go in and do what that person needs. And that's not always the case, but it's often the case. And they have a really nice balancing effect. And I think that's definitely true for an herb like CBD or for a constituent like CBD and cannabis. And then it's also true for herbs like holy basil that can be calming or energizing or a little bit of both. And, oftentimes it does what your body needs. If you need to be brought up a little bit, it does that. If you need to be brought down and calmed down a little bit, it does that as well. And cool.
Is it the body doing that? Is that the body reacting in its particular state to the herb?
It's probably a combination of things, but I think it's the herbs and the constituents in the herbs interacting with the body. And
Okay.
so especially some of these herbs have a very nice nervous system restorative effect, which in herbalism we might call a nervine. And cannabis definitely does this, as well as a lot of the herbs that I just mentioned. And then some herbs like holy basil are adaptogens, so they actually help modulate the stress response, so that you're less likely to go in a fight or flight mode. And that's a whole class of herbs, but holy basil is one in particular that's really enjoyable as a tea and, you know, really balancing for a lot of different people.
Wow, that's awesome. And when clients come to you, Maria, are they in a state? Are you fixing things, or are you a more preventative kind of situation?
We definitely do both things in herbalism, and myself as a practitioner, I'd say that I do work with a lot of folks who are dealing with anxiety as one of the things that are going on that might be triggering other issues, or it might be their primary concern. As an herbalist, I'm not allowed to say the words like treat or cure.
Oh, okay,
but
that's fine.
We're really
That's
helping
fine.
that's okay, but we're helping to support people so that they are in a more balanced state and that they can, manage things. So I might also recommend people do deep breathing exercises or improve their diet or go out in nature, exercise more. But then we do have this whole arsenal of herbs that can be pretty amazing
I
to
know.
help us out
and
too.
And
Yeah.
again, to enhance and so many people don't even realize if you just slow breathe, if you just do a 4 count in, hold it, 4 count out, hold it, and do that several times, it really can bring you down a little bit. But then sometimes our anxieties are such that we need to go to the next step.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, of course
That's
there's
the
nothing
big
wrong
thing.
with that.
And a big part of the whole thing with anxiety and depression and all of that, we're talking about mental health. And a big problem with mental health has always been that there's a big stigma
Yes,
involved.
total stigma.
And,
Yep.
and we talk, for us, at Clearly Balanced Days, we support mental health awareness, suicide prevention. We really talk a lot about those things because changing that stigma and empowering people to say, hey, I don't feel all right. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I need to find help. And that's especially okay. And it's actually, it's Health Literacy Month. And
Nice.
health literacy is just teaching people how to make good choices for their bodies. And so we've been talking a lot about that. And for us, that includes foundational health. And things like what we do and like what Maria does is really helping people be empowered to build a good foundation of health for themselves. And when you do that, things like the anxiety and depression are things that you can handle because you're empowered to make the right choices for yourself.
But once you get through that, okay, listen, I'm a really happy guy. I cannot tell people I'm depressed. You got to get past that
You
sort of
do.
stigma and say, you know what? I could use a little helping hand.
Maria, you've written several books. If you could talk about those for a minute. I would imagine stress, anxiety, and depression are covered in your books. Is that true? And where can somebody get a copy if that's true?
Oh, yes. They're definitely covered in both my books. Body into Balance kind of gives more of the big perspective, and then herbs that are available in commerce especially, and then Grow Your Own Herbal Remedies is things that you can grow in your yard and make remedies with. And they both have big sections on these topics. And I'd say especially anxiety, a lot of the herbs work particularly well for that. For depression, they're helpful, but it is a little bit more challenging. And there are times when medications might be really life-saving, and that's also okay, like Carrie's talking about, is that just really accepting that it is okay to not be in a great state and to go and seek help to balance that out. And but there are a lot of things that herbs and diet and lifestyle can do, and that is covered in both my books. And I believe the co-op still has some copies of those. Is that accurate, Greg?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Thank you
Okay.
for reminding me that's at the customer service desk.
By the way, it's available at the Concord Food Co-op.
Yes, it is available. I do also sell signed copies, through the mail, or people can come pick them up out of my garage in Allenstown if they want to. But the co-op has signed copies, so you can just go down to the co-op and pick up a signed copy. And then I think your local bookstores, Gibson's usually carries them, and you can get them online too. But certainly, we're here to talk about the co-op especially. So go on down to the co-op and pick up your book.
And again,
if you're interested.
Like you said, Carrie, it's about educating. I mean, for you guys, it's about educating clients. For us, it's about educating ourselves on what's available and what could be done.
Exactly. Education empowers us.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
It gives you strength. No, there's strength in knowledge.
Yeah. And so and that's part of why we love the co-op so much, because the co-op is filled with people that know what they're talking about. When you go in and you ask a question, whether it be about CBD, about herbs, about whatever it is, they're knowledgeable and they have a whole store full of beautiful things that can help empower your wellness.
You know what? It's they care, Greg. It's because your people care. And you can't get that in every single store you go in.
No, they work at the Concord Food Co-op because they live that life, and as you know, I think you have to be immersed in that lifestyle so that you pick up the education as you go.
Yeah.
So many that's the way they live a healthy lifestyle, and they're very interested in learning themselves on a continuum as how to be a healthier person in the products that will make them healthier and those that don't.
Right, and they're willing to share.
Right.
Yes.
They're willing to share that knowledge. All right. We're going to share some more coming up. Let's take a quick break. We're talking to the Concord Food Co-op and their guests about stress and anxiety. Don't go away. Good morning, New Hampshire. 107.7 The Pulse. Night, we're back with the Concord Food Co-op talking about stress and anxiety and depression and dealing with it. Maria Noel Groves with us, Carrie James as well. Maria, when there is a host of herbs and botanicals that can help you that a lot of people probably don't know about, which is why maybe getting the book is a great first baby step to take.
The books are really helpful. So, whether you just want general information, Body into Balance is great for that. And if you're a gardener and you want to grow some of those plants and make remedies, then Grow Your Own Herbal Remedies would be the great book for you. And also just in general, I did just for the sake of this, radio show, post an article on my blog on wintergreenbotanicals.com about anxiety and calming herbs, and with links to other articles on sleep support with herbs and mood lifting with herbs and stress support with herbs. So people can also just go and check that out and get a little taste of the information.
And where can we go? Where can we go to check out your blog?
So I'm very Googleable. So Maria Noel Groves, Herbalist, Wintergreen Botanicals, but the website is wintergreenbotanicals.com.
All right, Maria Noel Groves. I've been calling you Graves. I'm so sorry.
It's very common. That's okay.
So
and
what herbal remedies do I
page.
have for my eyesight? We'll get into that another time. That's
so
fine.
Maria, I'm glad you're mentioning your book because one of the things if I'm jumping into something that I have no background in, my fear is, can I have too much of something? Are there side effects? I know if I eat too much mashed potatoes, I'm okay, but I don't know if I have too much CBD or, so Carrie or Maria, so your books, how do you know what is the right amount, or are there side effects or detrimental aspects of using herbs?
Well, I'd say the herbs that we've been talking about today are generally pretty well tolerated by almost everybody. There are people for whom something might just not agree, but usually these herbs don't have a whole lot in the way of side effects. But certainly doing your research before you start taking something, reading up on it from a couple different sources, my stuff as well as other herbalists' writings can be found that will help educate yourself. And then also listening to your body and seeing how you feel. And then if you're on a lot of medications already or you just feel a little overwhelmed, you can always hire an herbalist. I'm actually pretty hard to get an appointment with right now because this year has been totally bonkers. But there are a variety of herbalists throughout New Hampshire, and if people reach out to me, they can set an appointment up with me in a couple months, or I can refer them to other local herbalist that they can check in with. And so those are a variety of ways that you can get customized advice and just make sure that what you're doing really is right for you.
All right. And Carrie, same question about CBD.
Yeah.
Can you take too much?
The nice thing about CBD is it is very, very safe and very forgiving.
Great.
However, and I'm sure Maria would agree with this, when it comes to taking anything new like that, we always recommend starting low and working your way up to where you're at the right amount for you.
Right.
Rather than starting up here when you really only need down here.
Right.
You
And
know,
and then go into the listen to the body thing.
Yes, exactly.
To see how you're reacting.
Exactly. Yeah. So we always recommend, you start really low and then go a few days, see how you feel. Go a week, see how you feel. And then from there, if you feel like you could get a little bit more out of it, maybe bump yourself up a little bit and continue that until you find where you need to be.
Right. Again, I think it's throughout this entire discussion, it's really about paying attention to yourself. If you're in an anxious state, if you're stressed, if you're depressed, you have to recognize that about you and make the step to take care of it.
Exactly.
All right. Carrie James from Clearly Balanced Days, and you can reach her at clearlybalanceddays.com. And go ahead and Google Maria Noel Groves, and you'll find her as well. Greg, Turkey Bucks.
Turkey Bucks, yeah.
Turkey
Get your
Bucks
turkey bucks.
still going on at the Concord Food Co-op .coop.
If you're in the mood for real food, it's Concord Food Co-op.